Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. Whether you are trying to get a better grip on your finances, boost your savings, or simply have a better understanding of what is happening with your money, there is no better tool than a budget. I myself followed a budget from the time I was 17 until I was in my early 30s, and I can tell you the insights I gained from keeping a budget were absolutely invaluable. It allowed me to have 100% control over my finances. Now, I no longer do follow a budget. I've moved on to simply tracking my expenses, but I still think budgets are an amazing tool, and they're amazing for a myriad of reasons. Budgets can help you understand your financial picture. You see exactly how much is coming in and exactly how much is being spent. They help you identify areas where money is being wasted, and maybe you see areas where you can cut back. They help you identify financial wins. Perhaps you realize you're saving a greater percentage of your income than you thought. They can help you reach financial goals, whether they're short, mid, or long-term goals. They can help to ensure that you're prepared in the event of a financial emergency. They prevent you from spending money you don't have, keeping you out of debt, especially credit card debt. And they help you keep your eye on the prize. It helps you to track your progress and realize that you're taking steps to get closer towards your goals. I actually really love budgeting, and I know there are people who hate it and view it as a four-letter word and rebel against it as if it were an overly restrictive diet, but budgets don't have to be all that restrictive. It's really how you approach it. Now, there are some common budgeting mistakes that a lot of people make that can make the process a lot harder than it needs to be and can really discourage you from wanting to continue. I can tell you I've definitely made my share of mistakes along the way. You will find out a lot of them in this video. If you've made your share of budgeting mistakes, let me know in the comments down below and what you learned from them. But without further ado, here we go with common budgeting mistakes. Number 1, randomly setting your spending categories. So you sit down, you start planning your budget, and if this is something you've never done before and you start assigning random figures to the various categories, you can end up with some wild figures. Because if you've never done this before, you have no idea how much should be in each category. You may fall into the mindset of, well, that seems reasonable looking at this arbitrary number that you assigned to this random category. If you've never done it before and you're basing these figures off absolutely nothing, chances are it's very unreasonable. I did this when I made my first budget. I remember being in college, and while I don't remember the figures for every single category off the top of my head, I distinctly remember my grocery budget was $30, and if I wanted to eat out, my budget was $10 for the week. In my mind, I was like, yes, that figure seems reasonable. Then I started grocery shopping and I was like, wow, this is absolutely crazy. But I was stubborn, so I clung to that budget for way too long. I would have weeks where I would buy bread and peanut butter and no jelly. I would have weeks where I would buy salad, but no salad dressing. And I can tell you that having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is much better if you have the jelly. Having a salad is much better if you have dressing. I would have been far better off upping my grocery budget. But for some reason, because I had tied this arbitrary $30 figure to my budget, I felt if I didn't stick to it, I was somehow failing. That was nonsense. So how do you prevent yourself from making this mistake? If you truly have no idea what a realistic figure for each of the categories are in your budget, start by tracking your spending. Do that for a couple of weeks, and after a couple weeks' time, you will start to notice patterns and you will start to identify what a realistic number is for each of those categories. Don't simply pick a number out of thin air, slap it on the various items in your budget. That's probably not going to work, and it will probably leave you eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches without the jelly, which sucks. Mistake number 2, trying to minimize every single category. Now, I feel like this is really the most common budgeting mistake out there because I feel like a lot of people start budgeting. They do so because they want to save money. So they set up their budget, cut every single category to the bare minimum so they can save as much money as possible. And yes, I can tell you I've made this mistake as well. I am a huge fan of saving money, as we all know. However, if you literally try to reduce every single category down to the bare bones, that is when a budget starts to feel overly restrictive. Having a healthy relationship with your finances is finding a balance between spending and saving, not trying to spend the minimum amount possible. Spending too much is not a good thing, but neither is saving too much. Are you someone who loves to travel? Well, that means your travel category in your budget is going to need to be a little larger. Are you someone who loves to entertain and have guests over? Well, then your entertaining budget is going to need to be higher. However, if you find that you are spending in areas that you simply could care less about, well, try and drive those categories down to nothing or as little as possible. The thing to remember with budgeting is that you can have anything you want. You just can't have everything. You are casting votes with your dollars. What's most important in your life? Put your dollars there. Mistake number 3, forgetting the importance of fun money. It can be so easy to get caught up in assigning every single dollar a job to do that you forget about the importance of fun money. And to me, fun money is that money you can't really categorize and you just want to spend it without feeling guilty about or having assigning it a task. And how much fun money you get? Well, that's a personal decision because we all have our own unique budgets. Maybe it's 20 bucks a week, or maybe it's $200 a month. It's all up to you and a personalized decision. But once you have this fun money set aside, you can literally do whatever you want with it. Do you want to hit a local coffee shop on your way into work every single day? Go for it. Damn the latte effect. You want to go to TJ Maxx and buy a basket full of goodies that you don't really need, but your intuition says otherwise? Go for it. It's your fun money. You know those shelves of goodies that you weave through leading up to the cashiers in TJ Maxx or Marshall's? My husband calls that my gauntlet because I am such a sucker for chocolate covered Oreos, popcorn, or candles. So we kind of have this game we play. I'm allowed to add anything to our basket up until that moment he sticks his credit card in the machine to check out. Seems fair, but you have to know that he's quick. He'll rush to the cashier and you'll see me running behind him like, one more thing to add. If he's already got his credit card in the machine, game's over. I have to put it back on the shelf, wait till next time. If I got it before his credit card's in the machine, I get the goodies. And that's fun money. How you spend your fun money is up to you. That's the whole point of fun money. Once you have your savings covered and your necessary spending, make sure you leave yourself some fun money. If you don't, that's when a budget can start to feel stifling. Make sure you budget in some fun money because it's fun to be a little frivolous every once in a while. Budgeting mistake number 4, putting wants before needs. When it comes to budgeting, it's important to remember that needs take priority. If you have a mortgage or a rent, that goes to the top of the list. So too with things like minimum debt repayments, auto loans, utilities. You don't ever want to find yourself sitting in the dark. Once those things are taken care of, then we start to address things like an emergency fund. If you don't have one, you want to build one up. After that, things like savings or your retirement accounts. Once you're allocating money towards those categories, then we can move on to the wants. You want to take a trip or upgrade to the latest iPhone or get your friend a birthday gift? That comes after all those other categories are met. Logically, we all know this, but in actuality, a lot of people don't do this. If you swipe your credit card without a true awareness of your finances, you might be buying yourself a basket full of goodies you can't truly afford. Don't let this happen to you. Budgets are fantastic at preventing this. Remember, needs first, then wants. Budgeting mistake number 5, not making it automatic. I'm a huge fan of making as much of your financial life as automatic as possible. My mortgage, credit card, utilities, all of those are set up to be automatically taken out of my checking account every single month. I contribute to a simple IRA through my employer. That is automatically deducted from my paycheck before I ever receive my paycheck. I also have automatic contributions set up to brokerage accounts, and they are automatically taken out of my checking account every single month. The vast majority of my financial life is on autopilot, and I absolutely love it. It makes it so I never skip a beat. Truth be told, with this level of automation, there's actually very little in the way of decisions that I make with money at all, ever. I know that my bills are always taken care of. I know I'm on track to hit my savings goals. What more could I ask for? Budget mistake number 6, not choosing a budget that works for you. It's important to remember that there are a vast number of different budgeting styles out there. Some of the most popular ones are the zero-based budget, where every month you start fresh, giving every dollar a job to do for that specific month. Candidly, this is my favorite budgeting style and the one I used for years. Then we have the 50-30-20, where you spend 50% on needs, 30% on wants, and then 20% on savings. The cash only budget, where you literally ditch your credit cards and spend only cash. The no budget, which revolves around making everything in your life automatic, kind of like I described in the previous section. And these are just a couple of the budget styles out there. The important thing is to find one that works for you. Remember, we're all different and there is no one right budget. What you have to do is find the one that works best for your situation. How do you want to keep track of your spending? There's lots of different ways to do it. Do you physically want to write it out in a notebook? If that's you, then go for it. But remember, if math is not your strong suit, this may not be the best approach for you.
Okay, how high do you think that fence is?
I'm a little over 6 foot. Looks like it's about 3 of me, so 6 times 3, 92 feet. 92 feet, that's really tall, right?
Yeah.
But they don't want you to get up there, so I guess that makes sense. Wait, 6 times 3.
Poor kid.
What's up?
Maybe you want to use an Excel spreadsheet or an app. With an app, all you have to do is plug in your numbers and the app takes care of the rest. There are plenty of free and paid for ones out there that are absolutely fantastic. Just pick the method that works for you. Budget mistake number 7, refusing to be flexible. Once you pick a budgeting style, it's important to remember to be flexible in your approach. You do not have to stick to a budget to a T. For instance, let's say you choose to go with the 50-30-20 approach, where you're supposed to spend 50% on needs, 30% on wants, and then 20% on savings. But let's say you don't really have a lot of expenses, so you find that you really only need 30% of your income to cover all of your expenses. First off, go you. Secondly, you can play with the figures of the other categories. Then you may decide that you want to spend 50% on wants and save 20%. Or maybe you want to be a super saver and save 50% and then use 20% for wants. Or do some other percentage. Or what if it so happens that you live in a high cost of living area? So it's mandatory that your needs are coming out at 60% of your pay. Well, then I guess you're going to have to play with the other categories and the other percentages. It's important to have goals, but be flexible in your approach. There is no one perfect method. For instance, if you have an income that varies from month to month, your budget is probably going to vary from month to month. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. And number 8, I'm not really sure if this is a budgeting error, but you may find that you simply need to make more money. You may sit down to make your budget and you may find that you simply don't have enough to cover your wants, needs, and savings. A budget can help you identify these problems, but it can't magically make more money appear. Well, if that's the situation you find yourself in, you're gonna need to make more money. If you've been with one employer for quite some time, chances are you're probably being underpaid. If your employer does small incremental raises, the odds are good that the market rate for your position is likely higher. So if you're willing to look for a job at an outside company, well, you might actually experience a pay boost by switching jobs. Statistically speaking, people who switch jobs actually receive better pay. If you truly love your company and you want to keep working there, maybe you can try to negotiate a raise. Or maybe you start a side hustle that brings in a little bit of an income, or engage in some gig work, like maybe Uber driving or renting out a room in your home through Airbnb. There's an endless number of ways to increase your income. It doesn't really matter how you bring in this extra money, just that you do. Because if you've made your budget and you've cut back in all the areas that you can or realistically want to, the next step, if you need more money, is to boost your income. Budgeting doesn't have to suck, and it can be a lot more enjoyable if you don't make a lot of these mistakes along the way, like I did. Do you have any other mistakes that I didn't list here that you have made? Share them in the comments down below. I'd love to hear. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's gonna do it for me today. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, or if you know of anyone who might like this type of content, please consider sharing. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.